happened after the 3 days. Standing by my bed, it was smiling. It put its mouth on my face and then held my hand. I saw then that it only had 5 fingers on each hand. It pulled me gently out of the bed and took me into another room. In this room, there were 4 very big people with brown hair and brown clothes sitting on chairs. They all had guns, but they smiled at me and I smiled back at them. They took me to a car and put me in the back seat with a yellow-haired person. It held my hand while one of the brown-haired people put something over my eyes so that I couldn't see. Everything was dark again. I could hear the 4-legged person shouting outside the car. "Where did they take you?" "I don't know. When the car stopped, somebody put their mouth on my face and got out of the car. Then the car moved again just a little way. When it stopped this time, somebody took my hand and pulled me gently out of the car. We walked for about 200 meters and then stopped. They took the thing off of my eyes and I could see that I was in a room. It was a nice room, very big and colorful. There were 3 brown-haired people there. They smiled at me, and then we all sat down at a table. Did you have something to eat? No, not this time. They showed me a photo of Superbird on the hill after the crash, and then gave me a pen. At first, I didn't know what they wanted me to do, so I just took the pen and smiled at the people. Then one of them started drawing Superbird with a pen on a piece of paper. Suddenly, I knew what to do. I drew a picture of Superbird as it was before the crash. Then they all smiled too. But of course, I made mistakes in my drawing. I didn't draw the real Superbird. I drew 10 windows, not 8 windows, and I drew only 1 door, not 2 doors. I also drew the wrong shape. Did they know that you were making mistakes? Not at first. But then one of them stopped smiling. It took the drawing from me and looked at it carefully. Then it started shouting at me very loudly, and it took out its gun. And what did you do? Were you afraid? Very afraid. I threw the pen at the person with the gun and I ran out of the room. Did they run after you? No, they just shouted. Did they shoot at you? No, they didn't. I ran out of the room. I went through a big door and into a garden. There was nobody there, just me and some trees. Nobody ran after you? No, I stopped and looked around. There was a high wall around the garden and I saw a door at the end of the wall. The door was open, so I quickly walked towards it. I went through the door and then saw a yellow-haired person standing on the road. It smiled at me, walked over to me, held my hand, and then took me back through the gate, through the garden, and back to the room. Why didn't you try run away? I don't know. I think because it was my friend. He was always nice to me. The 3 brown-haired people were still sitting around the table. They just smiled at me when they saw me. They gave me the pen again and another piece of paper, and they watched me as I drew. This time I drew the picture of the real Superbird. I understand. How long did you stay there? In the room? No, I mean on planet Earth. A long time, maybe 9 months. I lived with a yellow-haired person. It told me its name was June and that it was a woman. She was very kind to me and we were good friends. She taught me their language. It's called English. And I taught some of them our language too.